Namaste. In this series of Samatvam, we are going to discuss the, an important concept that was propounded by Lord Krishna, that is Samatvam. Before we start, let us pray in front of Lord Krishna and let us pay our respectful obeisances to the Jagat Guru, that is Lord Krishna. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, the deliverer of the fallen souls. His mercy turns the dumb into eloquent speakers and enables the lame to cross mountains. So the context was set, and Arjuna was in between of a great war, that is Mahabharata, and he was very reluctant in that particular war, and he did not want to participate in this particular war. He said that he neither wanted heaven nor kingdom. He wanted to turn away from the sin which would accrue by killing his oath kith and kin, and he appeared in front of the Lord Krishna in the form of Sharanagati and told him to guide him. While he was saying all these things, two of these slokas can actually sum up the things that he wanted to say. And as a response to these slokas, Bhagavan Krishna in the slok 38 propounded the Samatva Drishti or Samatva Bhav, which we are going to understand and which we are going to see appearing various verses in Shreemad Bhagwad Gita. So the verse says, Nihatya dhatre rashtranaha ka priti syat janardanah papameva sreyatasman hatva eten atatiyanah tasman nahar vayam hantu dhatri rashtrana swabandhavan swachanam hi katham hatva sukhina syama madhava. Means Arjun was explicit, what again explicates his unwillingness to kill his own relatives. And he faces Janardhan and he says that even though I'm aware that they are willing to attack us, mind you, the word atatiyana means aggressor, that they are willing to attack us. I feel it would be sin to kill my uncle's Dhritarashtra son. And further, he goes on to say to Lord Madhav that it is not proper on our part to kill our cousins and relatives. How can we be ever happy by doing such a deed? Under most circumstances, one can say that killing someone's life is a grave sin, which subsequently causes guilt and repentance. Even the Vedas say, Ma hinsyat sarva bhutani, that is, do not kill any living being. Unless absolutely necessary in extreme situation, violence in any form is a sin and non-violence is superior virtue. So in that case, if we take the Arjuna's case, he was right that way. To perpetrate a violence, to perpetrate a war, no noble man would want to do. But understand that Arjun's standpoint is a standpoint of Kshatriya. And that is what Lord Krishna wants him to do, wants him to understand, that your dharma is to fight a righteous war. In fact, he goes on to say that what else a good opportunity a Kshatriya would want. So in Arjuna's case, even though the enemy's wrong deeds are unpardonable, he was not willing to kill them. And he was saying that it is quite immoral. In fact, it is going to accrue sin. And that is what Lord Krishna is going to now reciprocate in the verses that I'm going to highlight. The first verse that I want to highlight would be the verse number 38, which embodies the concept of the Samatva. And understand this concept of Samatva is very important. Very important as in practical life, most often we are actually confronted by some experiences, and those experiences lead us to take the resort to Lord Krishna's teaching of Samatvam. Although before moving there, I want to just mention that what are those circumstances where it is acceptable to kill? So according to the Vasishtha Smriti, under 6 circumstances, it is acceptable to kill in order to protect themselves from such enemies who have set fire to their property, tried to poison them, conspired to murder, loot their wealth, kidnap or dishonor their women, or seize their kingdom. And if you go back into Mahabharata and see that Kauravas attempted all of these things against Pandavas. They conspired them to murder. They conspired them to. They set fire to the Lakshagriha. They looted their wealth. They dishonored Draupadi. In fact, they seized their kingdom. So even after all these things, Arjun, when he was almost on the right grounds to fight a war, he was not. He could not fight the war because he was seeing all his men in front of him, his eyes. And so, therefore, Lord Krishna in chapter 2 tells him about the real self, tells him about the nature of the Atma, tells him about the death, and all these things. After all these things, he goes on to give a great lesson, that is the Karma Yoga, and which starts after the slok 38th. Slok 38th is going to embody the Samatvam. So, Sri Krishna, as a response to the deterrence of Arjuna for fighting the righteous battle, elaborated the concept of Samatva in Shreemad Bhagwad Gita. And as I told you, this series is a very small effort to sum up a little bit of our understanding on Samatva or Samatvam Bhav as it is from the holy Sanatan scripture, Shreemad Bhagwad Gita. So, what is Samatva? The word has its genesis in the root word sama, which means equanimity. One can informally associate its meaning as evenness of mind. Sama, when prefixed with some words, would imply the evenness associated with them. For example, samabuddhi, meaning esteeming all things alike. Samabhava means equability of feelings. Samadrishti means even vision. And samdarshita means impartiality. So Samatvam is equanimity of mind and outlook. It is equipoise, to remain calm and composed in all circumstances, is what equipoise would mean. It is being able to keep the mind steady and balanced in all conditions of life. It is the ability to be forever serene, contented, calm, and peaceful. Samatvam is having the ability to remain cheerful in adverse conditions, to have fortitude in meeting danger, and to have the presence of mind and forbearance to bear insult, injury, persecution. Samatvam means being able to go through the routine of life amidst the din and the clamor of the world patiently and joyfully. So, what else one would want? All of these adverse conditions like insult, injury, persecution, all the din and clamor we go around in the entire day. We want what do we want? We want to patiently go through that. We want to joyfully uh, uh, go through those circumstances, isn't it? So after all, we all want that balanced mind. We all want that balanced conditions in our life. Okay, so but the path that Lord Krishna is going to suggest, it's not an easy path. So the question arises, Samatvam towards what? Towards what? Where do we need the balance? Where do we need the equanimity? And Samatvam towards what? Like Samatvam towards experiences, Samatvam towards object, and Samatvam towards the people. All of these three things we are going to see in detail as we are going to progress in this particular series. Today, our focus will be on the Samatvam towards experiences, and probably in a few lectures also, we talk about the Samatvam towards the experiences of our life. So the most elaborate conceptualization of Samatvam is related to being steady in the various experiences that we have in our lives. That is pleasure, pain, joy, sorrow, honor, disgrace, gain, loss, victory, and defeat. And this is what Bhagwan Lord Krishna says in verse number 38th of the chapter 2, which is the Sankhya Yoga. And he says, Sukhe dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaye vijasva nanam papam avapyasasi. That is, he says that Lord Krishna says that one should treat, he explains to Arjuna that he should treat victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, and engage himself in battle. And fighting thus will not incur the pain. Do you understand where it is coming from? It is coming from the question that was raised by Arjuna. He says that if he is going to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, it is going to incur sin and nothing else. And here what Lord Krishna is saying, that one who treats the victory and defeat alike, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, and engages in the battle with the mindset that with a neutral mindset, he is not going to incur the sin. So so what is the problem? What is the problem with this? So always remember that what is our perception? What is the perception of worldly people? That if a man is engaging in a war, what are the outcomes? Either he is going to get a victory or he is going to get defeated, right? There are only two possibilities, right? There are only two possibilities. Either he is going to win or either he is going to lose. Okay. So victory we associate with gain, that is labh. Defeat we associate with loss. Okay, that is alabh. So, and gain we associate with pleasure, that is sukh, and loss we associate with pain, that is dukh. So Bhagavan Krishna says that Arjuna, you fight the war, don't think about the victory, don't think about the defeat, don't even think the gain and loss associated with, and don't think about the pleasure and pain associated with. What you should associate yourself with is the discharge of duty. Discharge your duty by treating the agreeable and non-agreeable alike. And if you do so, there would be no sin. And you will be free from the bondage. This is the question, a point-blank answer. This is the point-blank answer to the question that Arjuna raises in front of Bhagavan Krishna in the chapter 1. And everyone should discharge his duty earnestly and efficiently, whether he has a desire or not for its fruit. Whether he has a desire or not for its fruit means whether you have a desire or not. If you do, even if you desire, if you don't desire, you should discharge your duty earnestly. That is, you should not be affected by the favorable and unfavorable circumstances. Only then your mind would become steady. And once your mind becomes steady, in all the situations, you will be able to face all the situations of your life. Okay. So this is one of the biggest instances of Samatva Bhav by Lord Krishna. No. So if one treats the two equally, what two equally? That is the pleasure and pain. That is sukhe dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaye yujasva nanam papama vapyasasi. Means you should treat alike. Like you should treat the victory and defeat alike. You should treat pleasure and pain alike, and you should treat anything with like whatever karma you do, whether you should not be affected by the favorable and unfavorable circumstances. That is, one should not perform an action for the sake of pleasure and refrain from another for the fear of its pain. Okay. Understand that whether it is a sin or whether it is virtue, that is, if you're going to do good karma, you're going to get somewhere in some swarglok, again you're going to come back. Okay. Even if you do sin, again you're going to come back. So basically, you're going to get bind in the cycle of birth and death. So what Lord Krishna is saying him, that you just face the war. You just face the war. by even-mindedness, if you die, then also, if you die fighting this righteous war, you're going to get liberated. And if you're going to win it, then also you're going to do the right karma. The right karma for a Kshatriya is what? The right karma for Kshatriya is to fight for the righteousness, isn't it? So he's saying to the Lord, to Arjuna, that you should remain even-minded in your action. And only this will help him escape the bondage of both sin and virtue. Why this is important? Whether if you do anything with selfish intent, if you do anything with selfish intent, let's say if you do something with selfish intent that I have done good for someone, it is going to give you heaven, okay? And if you are doing it with a bad intent, it is going to give you hell. Let's say these are the two circumstances. In both of these cases, you are again in the bondage of the birth and the cycle of birth and death. You're never going to evacuate from this transmigratory existence. So in order to get migrated from this in order to get away from this transmigratory existence, what is required? A neutrality is required. One should refrain from getting attached. And one should refrain from getting attached. Only then he can have this kind of neutrality. This neutral vision cannot appear in the worldly people like us. Why? Because we are attached. We are attached to the outcomes. If we are attached to the outcomes, we are attached to the outcomes that may give us. They may either give us pleasure or they may even give us pain. So both of these outcomes, we are attached to them. If we are attached to them, we cannot have that particular distance. And if we don't have that particular distance, we are actually muddled in that particular scenario. And if we are muddled, we are not going to get that even-mindedness. So in order to get all these things, that is what is my next thing. But is that so easy? Can everybody attain that equanimity? The answer is no. Only that person who has given up the mindness, who has given this I-ness, that is I. What is I? I is associating yourself with the body. You're associating yourself with the body, which is against the dictum that Lord Krishna has given to you. Lord Krishna has given, in the starting of the chapter 2, he has given the nature of the self. So one has to give up egoism, cravings, desire, and longing for the object. It can only be enjoyed by the people who has dispassion towards either goodness or sin. Whether it is virtue or sin, one has to remain dispassionate towards that. So Samatvam can be only understood, can only be attained by someone who understands the worthlessness of the perishable object and the passing powers and the positions in this world and has no desire for them. Only then one can remain aloof from pleasure, pain, victory, defeat, and all these circumstances, all these dualities. So that is what concludes my talk, that who can attain the Samatvam? As I told you, only one who attains his true self, who actually understands this particular shloka, this particular verse, this particular message given by Lord Krishna to the world. That is, Vansansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinhati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirna nyayani sanyati navani dehi. Means, as a man casts off worn out garments and puts on others that are new, so does the embodied self cast its worn out bodies and enters into others that are new. So if one understands the perishability of this body, and one who understands the eternity of the self means the capital S self, that is the self, that is the Atma, one who understands that Brahma, and one who associates oneself with that particular Brahma and not associates himself with body, only those people can have this equanimity of thoughts. Only that person can have this samatva drishti. Only that person can embody that concept of samatvam given by Lord Krishna. Or one who is a devotee like Hanuman, one who believes that hani, labh, jar, jivan, maran, yash, apyash, vidhimat, means someone who believes that these all six things, that is, whether it is a profit, whether it is loss, whether it is birth or death, or whether it is good fame or bad fame one attains, these are not in your hands. These are in the hands of a supreme being. If one has that kind of belief, then one can remain aloof from this dualities. So with this, I'm concluding my talk. We are going to continue this in the series coming. So I'll request Alpna to share her thoughts.
तो मैं इसी कड़ी में इसी श्लोक को आगे बढ़ाते हुए वापस ये श्लोक बोल के शुरू करना चाहूंगी। सुख दुखे समे कृत्वा लाभा लाभौ जया जयो ततो युध्याय युजस्वे नैवं पापम अवाप्स्यसि। तो मैंने राम सुखदास जी, स्वामी मुक्तानंद जैसे विभिन्न महापुरुषों से सीख ली है और उनके ज्ञान के लिए मैं बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ। तो पहले अध्याय में अर्जुन अपनी दृष्टि से जो दलीलें दी हैं उनमें भगवान ने इस प्रकार उनको समाधान दिया है। जैसे अर्जुन कहते हैं मैं युद्ध करने में कल्याण नहीं देखता हूँ, तो भगवान कहते हैं क्षत्रिय के लिए धर्म में युद्ध से बढ़कर दूसरा कोई कल्याण का साधन नहीं है। कहीं पर अर्जुन कहते हैं युद्ध करके हम सुखी कैसे होंगे, तो भगवान कहते हैं जिस क्षत्रियों को ऐसा युद्ध मिल जाता है वे ही क्षत्रिय सुखी हैं। अर्जुन कहते हैं युद्ध के परिणाम में नरक की प्राप्ति होगी, तो भगवान कहते हैं युद्ध करने से स्वर्ग की प्राप्ति होगी। अर्जुन कहते हैं युद्ध करने से पाप लगेगा, तो भगवान कहते हैं युद्ध ना करने से भी तो पाप लगेगा। अर्जुन कहते हैं तो इसी प्रकार अर्जुन कहते हैं युद्ध करने से परिणाम में धर्म का नाश होगा, तो भगवान कहते हैं युद्ध ना करने से धर्म नाश होगा। अर्जुन का यह आग्रह था कि युद्ध रूपी घोर कर्म को छोड़कर भिक्षा से निर्वाह करना मेरे लिए श्रेयस्कर है, तो उनको भगवान ने युद्ध करने की आज्ञा दी। और उद्धव जी के मन में भगवान के साथ रहने की इच्छा थी, तो उनको भगवान ने उत्तराखंड में जाकर तप करने की आज्ञा दी। इसका तात्पर्य यह हुआ कि अपने मन का आग्रह छोड़े बिना कल्याण नहीं होता। वह आग्रह चाहे किसी भी रीति का हो, पर वह उद्धार नहीं देता। शरीर, मन और बुद्धि, इन तीनों उपाधियों के माध्यम से ही हम जीवन में विभिन्न अनुभव प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। इन तीन स्तरों पर प्राप्त होने वाले सभी अनुभवों का समावेश इस श्लोक में कथित 3 प्रकार के द्वंद्वों में किया गया है। जैसे कि लिखा भी हुआ है, सुख दुखे समय कृत्वा लाभ लाभौ जया जयो। अनुकूल और प्रतिकूल परिस्थितियों को सुख और दुख के रूप में अनुभव करना बुद्धि की प्रतिक्रिया है। लाभ और हानि में ये मन की कल्पनाएं हैं, जिस कारण वस्तु की प्राप्ति पर हर्ष और वियोग का शोक होना स्वाभाविक है। भौतिक जगत की उपलब्धियों को यहाँ जय पराजय शब्द से सूचित किया गया है। श्री कृष्ण का उद्देश्य यह है कि मनुष्य को इस प्रकार की विषम परिस्थितियों में सदैव मन के संतुलन को बनाए रखना चाहिए। इसके लिए सतत जागरूकता की आवश्यकता है। जिस प्रकार समुद्र स्नान के इच्छुक व्यक्ति को समुद्र स्नान करने की कला ज्ञात होनी चाहिए, अन्यथा समुद्र की तरंगे उस व्यक्ति को व्यथित कर देंगी और उसे जल समाधि में खींच ले जाएंगी। किंतु बड़ी लहरों के नीचे झुकने और छोटी लहरों पर सवार होने की कला जो व्यक्ति जानता है, वही समुद्र स्नान का आनंद उठा सकता है। यह आशा करना कि समुद्र की लहरें शांत हो जाएं अथवा स्नान के समय कष्ट न पहुंचे, अपनी सुविधा के लिए समुद्र को उसके स्वरूप का त्याग करने के आदेश देने के समान है। किंतु अज्ञानी पुरुष जीवन में यही चाहता है कि किसी प्रकार की समस्याएं उसके सामने ना आए, तो सर्वथा असंभव है। जीवन के समुद्र में सुख दुख, लाभ हानि और जय पराजय की लहरें उठना अनिवार्य है, अन्यथा पूर्ण गतिहीनता ही मृत्यु है। यदि जीवन का स्वरूप ही एक उफनते तूफानी समुद्र के समान है, तो उसमें उठती उतुंग तरंगे के आघातों अथवा गहरों से विचलित हुए बिना जीवन जीने की कला हमको सीखनी चाहिए। इन उठती हुई तरंगों में किसी एक के साथ भी स्थापित कर लेना मानो समुद्र की सतह पर उसके साथ इधर उधर बहते जाना है, और ना कि उस प्रकाश के स्तंभ के समान स्थिर रहना है जो वही शुभ लहरों के बिना के बीच खड़ा रहता है और जिसकी नींव समुद्र तल की चट्टान पर निर्मित होती है। भगवान श्री कृष्ण अर्जुन को युद्ध करने के लिए प्रेरित करते हैं, किंतु साथ में इस समत भाव का उपदेश भी देते हैं। अन्यथा कर्म में प्रवृत्त हुआ व्यक्ति अनेक अवसरों पर अपनी ही नकारात्मक प्रवृत्तियों का शिकार बन जाता है। मन के इस संभाव के होने पर ही मनुष्य वास्तविक स्फूर्ति और प्रेरणा का जीवन जी सकता है, और ऐसे व्यक्ति की उपलब्धियां ही सच्ची सफलता की आभा से युक्त होती हैं। तो इस श्लोक में अ, भगवान श्री कृष्ण यह हमें बताना चाहते हैं कि कैसा भी आपके सामने किसी भी प्रकार की परिस्थिति हो, हर परिस्थिति में सदैव एक ही भाव से रहना ही इस जीवन का कर्तव्य है। तो इसी के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देती हूँ। धन्यवाद।
So, thank you, Alpana. And in this series of Samatvam, this was our first presentation, and it was actually on the verse number 38, chapter number 2. And I'm reiterating that in the entire series, we are going to discuss the Samatvam, that is Samatva Bhav, towards experiences, towards object, and towards the people, and the occurrences of this concept in Shreemad Bhagwad Gita. Today, we have discussed the Samatvam towards the experiences of our life. Tomorrow, also, we are going to see the verses which connect the same. And on each day, we are also going to see that what are the ways to attain it? What are the ways that have been suggested by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, or probably in Ramacharitamanas or other scriptures of Sanatana Dharma. I want to end this lecture by a beautiful quote by Swami Satyananda, who says that man is the most beautiful and the privileged creation of God. His glory is that he can sublimate his natural and irresistible urges for the possessions and sensual enjoyments and transform himself into something noble and divine. And yet, although our ultimate eternal abode is the seat of Brahma, we are all pilgrims here, and pain and pleasure will come our way. The cloud of calamities may eclipse our inner shine, but with nothing should we barter the peace of our soul. Only one who considers pain and pleasure as passing phenomena and is always aware of his goal will be really happy. With these words, I conclude this lecture. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shanti.